Things that I admire about the Norwegians and the culture. The Norwegian people are just the truest friends. Once you become friends with them, they never forget you. They're friends for life. They're trustworthy and they're loyal, and they will do anything for you. I still have contact with many friends in Norway, and they remember my name, and they remember what I did when I was there, and they remember the good times that we had together. They don't just brush you aside like many of my friends here in the United States. The Norwegian people are very loyal, and they'll do anything for you. That's one thing I admire about them. They're hardworking people, and they're loyal, and they're friendly, and they will be your friend for life and do anything for you. You could walk in their home and they immediately give you a drink or offer you some food from breakfast or from dinner. They'll offer you, whatever they have, and just to sit down and talk. It's a tradition just to sit down, invite you into their home and sit down and talk and then feed you. And I learned a lot about the people and the wonderful foods that they have. And it was just amazing just to sit down and talk to them and learn about them. And, as I would go around, if I go in the city and on the market street and I'd see them, that they'd wave to me and say hi, and we'd stop and talk. Most Norwegians, they won't do that if they don't know you. And so they have to get to know you. But once they know you, they're your friends for life. And that's one thing I love about them. I have friends for life in Norway if I can ever get back there. That's my goal, is to get back to Norway and see them again. So yeah, I love them. The differences between living in the United States and living in Norway. Norway, they have lots of oil, so they have lots of money, and they take care of their people. No matter who you are, if you're Norwegian, you're part of the family, and they take care of you. And it's all part of the Norwegian way, the way that they treat their people and take care of everybody. Everybody has a place to stay. Everybody has a home. Everybody has an opportunity to work, and if they need to work, they get an opportunity to learn and go to college, and they provide and help their people that way. If someone wants to be successful, they have an opportunity to do that, and they can earn more money if they get a job and work. But they really take care of their people. Here in the United States, I think it's more of a capitalistic mentality where you have to earn your way, and if you want to be rich, you have to make sure you do it yourself. And once you've done it yourself, you've proven that you can do it, and so it's your house, your money, your job, your company, and you earned your way there. And we try to take care of people here, but not in the way that Norway does. Norwegian people are very special, and they are very proud of their country and their culture. Because of the hard climate with the snow and how cold it can get, they have lived the life and they know how to live in a cold environment. Sometimes we here in Utah say that it's cold and we've struggled and stuff, but not until you've been in Norway and experienced the cold in Norway. It's a little bit different, and so you can see some of the climate in movies, because I've filmed many places in Norway in movies. The Empire Strikes Back, The Planet Hoth, was filmed in Norway, and that cold environment, that cold planet, that was Norway. Of course, it's in the middle of Norway, but it was still a perfect environment, perfect place for them to film that. And so here in Utah, we got the summertime, and it's a lot hotter and dry here in Utah. But in Norway, it's beautiful. They have so much humidity, and they got the coast, the Gulf, the front coming up through the coast, and they have everything's green. Here in Utah, when I came back after being in Norway for 2 years, I flew in and I flew over Utah, and I saw how tan and desert-y it looked. There weren't very many trees, and I was like, man, I'm coming back to a dust bowl. And in Norway, as I was flying over, you saw trees and green everywhere. And so the landscape and the mountains are just beautiful in Norway. It's a lot different than here in Utah for sure. The food that I liked in Norway, it's got to be the pastries, the chocolate. Everything is fresh and homemade, and the ice cream is so creamy and sweet. It's amazing. Those were, and I'm a sweet tooth anyways, and so when I had those, I was just like, yes, give me more. And they had this pastry called skulebrød, and it was really good. and they have the little cream on top, and then the French bread, the loaf of bread that they make fresh there. Every time we'd go to the grocery store, I'd pick that up and then start eating it on the way home. But yeah, their food is amazing. And I was really picky when I went to Norway for the first time, but I got used to fish and shrimp and everything. And now I'm not really picky about anything at all. I tried horse. I also, which was, weird for me. Never tried horse. I tried elk. I had a lot of different types of fish. And of course, their Christmas tradition, the foods that they have that are different for me it was the special lutefisk. It's the fish that is soaked in lye and fermented, I guess, I don't know, but in the ground, and then they bring it up and eat it afterwards, and it's for the Christmas season. That was really hard for me to eat, and I actually ate it. I liked all the food in Norway pretty much. At first I didn't, but then I got used to it. Oh, there was the goat cheese, or the brunost, the ekte geitost. As we were in Norway, people would try to give us this brown cheese and say, if you try the brown cheese, the goat cheese, and most people don't like it, but if you eat it enough, you'll get used to it. And for sure enough, I had it so many times, it was really tarty, I guess, but also sweet. And so as I put it on crackers and bread, at first I didn't like it, but the more and more times that I ate it, I grew to love it. And now I buy it all the time here in Salt Lake at a store called the Old Dutch Store. And they have stuff from Holland, they have stuff from Amsterdam, Germany, Sweden, Norway, Finland. And so they have a lot of foods there that I like, and they also have mixes to make waffles and pancakes, Norwegian waffles and pancakes, and I make those for my kids all the time. A lot of times in Norway, when I'd eat breakfast, I'd eat oatmeal, but I'd also make waffles and pancakes, Norwegian's waffles and pancakes. And I got so good at it that I still have the recipe memorized, and my kids always beg for it. So we have it on special occasions, or I try to have it once or twice a month. But it seems like on their birthdays, they ask for it. So I say, what kind of cake do you want? And they're like, nope, we don't want cake. We want Norwegian pancakes. So I have it all memorized. I don't need a recipe anymore. I just whip it up and put it together and make Norwegian pancakes. They're called pannekaker. And my kids love them. And we have them all the time. And I always make sure that I have a square cube of brownost. I can't even say it in English now. Brunost, or geitost, goat cheese. And so I always go get a loaf of French bread at the store and put some butter and some jam on there, and then put the goat cheese on top and eat that. And I love it. My son loves it. My other kids don't don't like it as much, but my son and we eat it all the time, and we love it. And it's totally Norwegian. But the pancakes are something like crepes, but my kids want them all the time because I make them all the time, and they love them. And so it's become a tradition in our house to eat those. So yeah, I went to many of the historical sites, visited some of the World War II sites, and was able to see where they had the big guns up in the mountains. We hiked a lot in Norway and saw a lot of the beautiful mountains and the beautiful scenery. We even went down to some of the beaches, which weren't really beaches compared to California or Florida, but we saw a lot of fish and animals, but we didn't get to go very far into the ocean at the time as we were serving there as missionaries. And so we just saw the sights and went around, and what was amazing was in the summertime the sun was always up, and so we would take that time to go and see the land and to and we could stay up late because the sun was up late, and we could just walk around, especially when I was in northern Norway. We could walk around, and it'd be 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and we'd see people mowing their lawns like it was 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And on the longest day of the year, we got special permission to go up to the top of the mountain. When I was up in Tromsø, we had a special permission to go to the top and see. It was a special holiday called Sankthansaften, longest day of the year. We took the ride up to the top of the mountain, and it was midnight, and the sun was still up. And then it was 1 a.m., and the sun had gone down for a second and then popped right back up. And as we were at the top of the mountain, hanging around some glaciers and walking down. It started to rain a little bit, and so I took a picture of it, and I always remember that because there was a rainbow in the picture at 1 a.m. in the morning up on the top of the mountain. And I thought that was the coolest thing because I've never seen a rainbow at 1 a.m. in the morning, and I've never seen such beautiful, pictures with the sun just kind of on the horizon starting its way back up. And that's, totally land of the midnight sun, and it's beautiful. Also, when I was up there in the north, I was in Boulder, and it was probably September, October, the sun started going down a lot earlier, and that's when we saw the northern lights, and that was incredible. It was incredible just to walk around. It started to get cold again and started to get dark, but then the northern lights started flashing up in the sky, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And it would just wave and then disappear and wave and then disappear and come back and forth, and I was just amazed at how beautiful it was. And too bad I didn't have a good camera back then. I think I tried to take a picture, but it was awful. The camera I had back was probably 91 or 92, 1991 or 1992, and it just couldn't catch the beauty, and I don't even know if I still have pictures of it, but I still remember that night and how beautiful it was. It's just incredible. Also, on the longest day of the year, we had big bonfires, tradition with the Norwegians, and it was amazing just to celebrate the longest day of the year. It was awesome. And when I was up in northern Norway, the sun would start to go down around, I don't know, midnight or 1 a.m., and then it would pop right back up. So it really didn't go down very far. It went down a little bit, but then it was right back up. So you never really saw the sun go down. So yeah, the longest day of the year was the longest day of the year because the sun, and if it would have gone even farther north, the sun probably wouldn't even ever gone down. So it was amazing. At that time, in the summertime, I was in Alta, Norway. I was visiting, and that's, I think when I looked on the map, it's 800 miles north of the Arctic Circle. And so that's pretty cool. So at that time, when I was there, I think I was the northernmost missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the world, because no one was that far north at that time. And so I kind of claimed that, fame to myself and saying, I'm the northernmost missionary. I thought it was pretty cool. I want to get back to Norway so I can go see the fjords. They're so beautiful. When I was there, I didn't have time to just stop and go on a boat and travel up the fjords. But the fjords are amazing. I mean, the videos and pictures I've seen since I've been home, they give me such a strong desire to get back that I almost went back last year, but then COVID hit and I lost my chance. So I had my tickets ready to go, and I was gonna go back because I wanted to get on a tour boat to go up and down some fjords, and then of course visit friends in Norway. So one day I'll get back there, hopefully soon. The Christmas traditions are amazing. There were many times that I was kind of sad and depressed because I wasn't home or wasn't with my friends, but Christmas season is so special in Norway. It's amazing how everybody just gets together and celebrates. They have so many great traditions, and their families get together, and they invited us into their homes to celebrate their traditions with them, with julenissen and dancing around the Christmas tree with their family, and the Christmas presents on Christmas Eve, and the risgrøt, and finding the white almond in the risgrøt on Christmas Eve. That was a tradition. So if you found the little white almond, you won a present, and just getting together and eating together as a family, and the wonderful food that they had, and just around the whole town as you walked up and down the streets, you could smell the food and you could see the everything that they decorated. It was truly a winter wonderland. It was amazing. And so Norway, most of the year can have a lot of snow, and so just being able to be in Norway during Christmas and the different holidays was an amazing time and amazing traditions, and I'll never forget it. I loved it. Trying to learn Norwegian was a culture shock for me. It was really hard at first. I think I did okay at the beginning, but there are many mistakes that I made, let's just say, as I was learning Norwegian. It took me 6 months in the land in Norway to be able to understand and speak Norwegian fluently. I mean, that's pretty incredible, but still it was I wasn't perfect, and my dialect wasn't very good, and people could tell I wasn't, from Norway, or they thought I was from a different part of Norway because there's so many dialects in Norway. But it was really hard to learn Norwegian. But once I learned it, after 6 months of studying, I could read it and speak it and understand it. But of course, there's still lots of words that I didn't know, and still lots of words now that I've forgotten. Once I learned it, I started dreaming in Norwegian. So after 6 months being in Norway, when I started dreaming in Norwegian, I was like, whoa, this is cool. And I was just totally amazed that I would have a dream talking to somebody in Norwegian and them talking back to me in Norwegian in my dream. And I woke up in the morning, I'm like, whoa, did I just dream that? Wow, that's incredible. And so when I got to that point, I felt pretty good. As I was speaking the language to people around different parts of Norway, different towns and cities, near the end of my 2 years that I was in Norway, I would talk to somebody and I was getting really good, but my dialect, I had been to so many different places, my dialect was kind of messed up. So when I was in one town and I'd start speaking, I had a little Oslo dialect, I had a little northern Norway dialect, I had a little southern Kristiansand dialect. And so those would come out in different sentences as I was speaking. And people would say, what part of Norway are you from? And so as I told them, no, I'm American, they're like, what? Oh, okay. That makes sense. But I had so many different dialects because I had been so many different places in Norway that it really, people were kind of confused and trying to figure out where I was from. And then when they asked me, they'd say, are you from this part of Norway? Are you from this part? I'd be like, nope, I'm from Utah in Salt Lake City. And they're like, oh, okay. But I was impressed when they said that I spoke pretty good Norwegian, and they thought I was from Norway because I have a little Norwegian blood in me. My great-grandmother's from Norway, so I had a little bit of help, but not much. It was really hard. I'm just glad that I had an opportunity when I was in Norway to be many different places. I started out in the Oslo area and Skien, and then went to the other side of the fjord to Skien, and then back to Moss. So kind of went over the Oslo fjord a couple times. But then I had the opportunity to go all the way up north to Tromsø during the summer, and that was amazing. And then when the winter came, I got the opportunity to go down to Kristiansand to the south. And it was a little warmer than I would have been way up north, and I actually saw the sun. If I would have stayed up at Tromsø during the wintertime, I probably would have hardly seen the sun at all. It would have been dark most of the time. So perfect opportunity in the summer to see the sun up all the time, and then go back down south during the winter and enjoy Christmas and the winter season in Kristiansand. And it was amazing to be there. I had an opportunity near the end of my mission as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ to go around and travel every 2 weeks to different places and to meet new people and talk to new people. And so I got to go to Stavanger and Trondheim and Bodø and Alta and Narvik. So I got to go to many places. One place I wish I would have had more opportunity to go to was Bergen. I just got to travel through there, so I didn't really get a chance to stop there and enjoy it. Everybody says Bergen's awesome, and I wish I would have had more opportunity to be there. So, but one thing we did there is we didn't have our own vehicles, and so we had to take the trains, the toga, a lot, and we had to take taxis, and we had bikes, so we rode bikes around everywhere. So when I was up in Tromsø, I lived on this island with really steep hills, and I was taking my bike up these steep hills all the time. So it was just amazing the different ways that we got to travel when I was in Norway. Every time I traveled, I counted how many flights I took. And while I was in Norway for 2 years, I took 77 different flights. So it was pretty cool. I remember counting them, but just what was great was being up in the airplane and being able to look down on the beautiful country as I flew over each area and the fjords and the mountains, and it was wonderful. So I traveled a lot when I was in Norway. I live in Utah. I was born here and raised in Utah. And in 2002, they won the Winter Olympics. And so I knew the Winter Olympics was coming. So I decided to volunteer. And in order to volunteer for the Winter Olympics, I had to take all the vacation time that I had at work and use it toward the 2 weeks of volunteer time that I would have. And so I didn't get to use that vacation time for my family or anybody else, but I used it toward being a volunteer for the Winter Olympics here in Salt Lake City. As one of the opportunities as a volunteer is you received a coat and some other material, but one of these Norwegian sweaters was called the Volunteer Norwegian Sweater for the Olympics. And it was on sale in the Scandinavian store and the Olympic store. And I saw it, and I had similar sweaters like this when I was in Norway. I'd bought some and brought them back home. But of course, I've grown a little since then, so I needed a bigger sweater anyways. And so I said, I have to have one of those Norwegian sweaters that was made in Dala, Norway. You know, it's a Dala sweater. And so I was like, I have to have one. So I found it in the Olympic store, and I found the right size, and no matter what the cost was, I was going to buy it because, you know, this represents Norway and what Norway, what they make and what they do and how industrious they are. And these sweaters are wool and they're awesome. So I was like, I'm gonna get me a sweater that fits me, and I'm gonna have it. And you know, I still want to buy more if I have an opportunity to buy more, but this reminds me of my time that I served and volunteered with the Olympics and the Norwegian athletes here in Salt Lake. And so it's a memory for me that I can always wear it and remember the Olympics. And I think it has something on here. It says, well, it just says Dollar Classic, but it's part of the Olympics for the 2002 Salt Lake Olympics. And yeah, I'm really glad I still have it. It's you know, I've had it since 2002, so it's been a while. Doing pretty good. I'm very glad and very happy that I had the opportunity to be in Norway and learn about their culture and learn about their food, learn about the people. I have many friends in Norway. I can't wait to go back someday and to see them again. And I'm very happy that I had this opportunity to at least give you this message of you know, desire that I have to let you guys know that I love Norway, I love the people, and I'm always going to keep that with me through the rest of my life. So thank you. Jeg er veldig takknemlig for tiden som jeg hadde i Norge. Folk i Norge er mine venner og mine familie, og jeg er veldig glad i dere. Og jeg er veldig glad jeg var i Norge i 2 år og hadde anledning å snakke med mange av jenter og gutter og folk som bor i Norge. Og fremdeles det er vanskelig å snakke norsk, fordi det er mange ord som jeg har glemt. Men jeg prøver hver dag å lese og studere norsk, fordi jeg har ikke lyst til å glemme det. Men jeg vet at hvis jeg prøver hver dag, at en dag skal jeg bli flink nok og komme tilbake til Norge og snakke med dere. Og jeg er veldig takknemlig at jeg hadde tid i disse 2 år som jeg var der, at jeg kunne lære norsk og lære måten dere gjør hva du gjør. Og jeg vet at en dag vi skal kanskje treffes igjen, og jeg er veldig glad i det. Og jeg er glad i dere. Tusen takk.